Houston, say again, please.
Houston, we've had a problem.
Hey there folks, welcome you all to yet another Friday vlog of mine. Another Friday has snuck upon us again, people. Yes, it has. And I am, as always, chilling out with my first flagon. Well, it's not always my first flagon, but tonight it is my first flagon. To chat away with you guys about the gaming interests of the week that have piqued my interest. And there are a few things actually I want to talk about this week. Primarily starting with my thoughts on Jedi Fallen Order, because Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and my experience of playing the first sort of 4 hours. I've put 4 videos up, so 4 hours or so. I tell you what, you're a lucky bunch this week. This channel does nothing but give people, I tell you that much. You'll have had by the end of tomorrow, by the end of tomorrow, you'll have had 4 Jedi Fallen Order videos and 2 Kingdoms of Amalur. I couldn't remember the name of the game. Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning on the Xbox One X by the Back Compat program. You'll have had 2 of them by the end of play tomorrow, or certainly by the end of play Sunday. But I'm pretty sure they'll all be up for tomorrow. And certainly the Jedi Fallen Order Part 4 is already up there and premieres tomorrow morning. And depending on when I get the part 54, I think it is, of Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, I feel like I have to say on the Xbox One X every time I say it now. I've done it that many times when I've opened the videos. That should be up tomorrow night, or it'll be up Sunday morning. Just depends when I upload it. And you're getting this blooming vlog as well, people. I tell you what, if that's not value for money, then I don't know what is, and money's nothing in this place. It's value for nothing, isn't it? I mean, it's just amazing, that. Jesus Christ. You're welcome. Assuming you wanted to see any of that stuff, or my face. But anyway, we have a number of things to talk about. I am gonna continue to play a lot of Jedi Fallen Order, I think. I hope it takes off on the channel. I hope people understand what type of game it is. It is not like me playing through Uncharted, even though it looks a little bit Uncharted-y in places. It is basically like playing through a Dark Souls-y, Bloodborne-y, Sekiro-y game set in the Star Wars universe. That's how the battling system works. It's almost really how the environments work as well, but the environments have even got their own little puzzles in them. And so it's really just the walking around of the world that is the sort of Uncharted-y type bits where you're climbing around, which frankly makes it slightly more interesting, you know? So, and anyway, we'll get to it. So we've got that to talk about, and I want to talk about another subject matter which came up thereafter as to how the build-up to this game was very odd, and I'm going to talk about that. And a number of other things. I've actually not bothered watching anything to do with the XO19 thing that's going on, the Xbox event that's in London at the minute. XO19's their big event that they do that's just all about Microsoft Xbox once a year, and this year it happens to be in London in the UK. And, you know, it's been really successful, but I just haven't got... I watched a brief video with Phil Spencer getting interviewed yesterday, which was really interesting stuff, and I like everything I'm hearing about the fact that he is committed to making everything backward compatible from this point on. So everything that we have now on the Xbox One, whatever your version of the Xbox One is, whatever you've got on that Xbox One now, will be transferable onto your Xbox 2 or whatever it is they call it. You'll be not only in the world of games, but in the world of your hardware as well. He wants you to be able to use your controllers. The new controller will be slightly different. They're going to add stuff to it and features to it, but the one you have now will still work on the Xbox One. How long they can keep that going for remains to be seen. But his whole mindset is, hang on a minute, when I upgrade the RAM in my PC and the graphics card of my PC in order to play the new games that are coming out, I don't have to worry about I can't play the game from before. It just plays. And that's how he wants the Xbox console to work. And bravo, my friend, because that is exactly how we all want it to work as well, and we've never had it. And frankly, I think Sony are being... I know Sony... Well, Sony are being forced into it. Sony have kind of said that they are going to do that. And the last interview I heard about that, it was still a little bit iffy. They never did any sort of back compat to PS3 other than you can pay to stream games online. I think you can download them and play them locally now, but it still has to. I don't know how that works, but it's still a service you've got to pay for. Whereas back compat was something that Xbox really had to do to try and revive the Xbox One in those early days. And it's kind of almost a blessing that all happened with Xbox back in the early days, because it brought Phil Spencer into our world. It brought a guy in who was determined to make the most powerful console, to make to start buying. I mean, his whole primary focus was to get the hardware sorted out first. Did that with Xbox One X and the S to some degree, but the X certainly, and then push into getting the games sorted out, which takes many years. But he's buying up the studios. He's got all the right things happening now, and as time goes on, it's going to get better and better. And we know that the next Xbox is launching with Halo 6. We know that they've listened to the fans about Halo 5, and it was not what they wanted. So they've gone right back to the roots with Halo 6. It's all about the Master Chief again, and blah, blah, blah. So, everything's happening the way you want it to happen. You can give or take on Gears 5. It was a great experience, great looking game, blah, but did it feel completely like a Gears game in the same world? It didn't really. It was a little bit all over the place story wise, it was a little bit all over the place character wise, and it was a little bit all over the place so far as there's a point in the game where you can choose, spoiler, pause it now if you don't want to hear, but there's a bit in the game where you can actually choose which of one of the main characters gets killed off. So it's like, well, how does that work in Gears 6? You know what I mean? You can. I guess you do that sort of stuff in Dragon Age and stuff, but, it's not that sort of game, is it? You just want it to be a linear type experience. I didn't have any problem at all with a woman taking front and centre. I just was like, it was almost like a reflex reaction to what the reaction in the first one was, and it kind of, what happened there was, it meant that Marcus and everything all kind of came disconnected, because it was like, well, we're interested in Marcus Phoenix's world, the character, family, blah, and all you've done there is just rip out because the first game's his son, and then the way that it ends, then the next game begins as his son, but then you end up being her as the girl, the friend, or whatever, you want to call her. Great character. I loved playing as her. But it just felt very like, well, I think we should have a female lead because, the world loves female leads at the minute. And I think we didn't get a great reaction to Marcus's son as a character. So, well, But the irony of all that was, and I've said this in another vlog, was they actually, in what they did in the story, was actually made him really badass and then cut him out the story for ages of the game. And then you end up playing as her with the other sidekick character, the black guy, whose name I'm actually forgetting off the top of my head, who's a great character as well. But why have him there? Because he was the sidekick of the other. He was the sidekick of. It just made like a little sense as to how they did it all. Great experience though, and I still had fun. Anyway, so everything's looking good for the Xbox experience. But I had anticipated sort of doing these events like I used to do, watching what was happening, jotting notes down, and then doing a vlog on them. But I've just not had it in me at this point in time. And I think, to be fair, the next proper one I'll do is probably E3 next year, because that's when a lot of shiz is going to happen, people. Because we're looking at PS5s, Xbox 2s, and all sorts of stuff happening. So we shall see what comes of it. But I will talk a little bit about I did see. Well, actually, it was Aaron Brew, my son. He mentioned to me that there was going to be an announcement at the Xbox thing, and it turned out to be to do with the Game Pass, so we'll talk about that as well. So let's crack in, shall we? So, I've mentioned already, we're going to talk about Jedi Fallen Order first, and I don't know whether to talk about the weird build-up to it first. It was very odd so far, but yeah, let's talk about the build-up to it, because the build-up was very, very weird, and it's kind of an EA thing to have very odd embargoes sometimes. And an embargo, for anyone that doesn't know what an embargo is, it basically means that the reviewers who get early copies of the games are not allowed to publish their reviews and review scores until a certain date or time. And in this particular case, they weren't allowed to publish their reviews until 5 p.m. PST. So in this country, that's is it PST or PMT? I can't remember. the Pacific blah time or whatever it is in America. So it was 5 p.m. that day, which is odd in America anyway, because you've just lost a whole a whole day of people wanting to buy it. But anyway, and in this country it was like, oh no, it wasn't. It was 9. It was 9. I think it was 9 o'clock, and it was 5 a.m. in this country of the following morning. So we got it at 5 a.m. And so we got it 5. Yeah. So I'm trying to remember the time scale now between two time frames. But we got the review the day of launch at 5 a.m. and the Americans got it, technically speaking, I suppose, the day before, but at 9 p.m. or whatever that was. So it basically, through that being announced the weeks or so before, that it was coming out, the whole world lost its shit, because it was like, well, it must be bloody awful. It's, because why would you have an embargo like that? If you were confident in your game, you would let the reviews come out, the 2 to 3 days beforehand, which is what a lot of them do, and then people can make their mind up as to whether it's a good experience or not. But when you do an embargo like that, where you've got no time frame to make your mind up whatsoever, then people are convinced it's going to be a god-awful experience, and you're hiding something. Now, that is the case. In this case, it is the complete opposite of that is what happened. And I think, okay, I'll talk more about embargoes after I've talked about the game. But I think, I think there's a pros and cons, and I can understand to some extent why gaming companies have a fear of not having an embargo that's very close to the date. And I think in this particular case, it's paid off for EA. And I think a lot of that has to do with Respawn. I think a lot of it's got to do with the backlash of all the other titles that have been released that have flopped heavily, and they have not had a successful game in a long time. I know that the Anthem one sold really well, but it is it's like in the top 10 of this game sales for last year. But that was game sales based on a whole bunch of stuff that everyone thought was going to be awesome, and it was absolute bollocks. So, nobody's playing that game. And every time I walk into a shop, it's for 15 quid. So, you can't... That game was a massive flop. And the online Star Wars games have been popular, I guess. They've sold a lot of copies. But it's not what people wanted. People wanted campaign games and proper Star Wars games that added to the universe. In this particular case, I can't remember the last big EA. I mean, for Mass Effect Andromeda was a massive flop because it had problems all over the place. That game was rushed out without any shadow of a doubt. It was built by a team that was not the same team that did all the other Mass Effects. So they've not had a big title that's done well, I think, other than Dragon Age Inquisition, which I still adore. And yes, I may well pick up the Let's Play of that again at some point. And so I think it takes a lot to force an EA suit, well, a room of EA suits, to not have the sort of things that are not in this game. Which is basically, when you load up the menu of this game, you've got to sign into EA Network or EA Online, which all the other games do. There's no mention of any online stuff whatsoever. The whole menu system, everything from the minute you start it, is just a single player game, and nothing takes you anywhere else. Nothing makes you, well, you've got to sign in, to Xbox Live, I suppose, but I was already signed in, so, and I suppose you could play it offline. I don't see why not. There's nothing on it that would force you online. So everything when you go into this game is a massive surprise, so far as EA have basically left Respawn alone to just do what they do well, which is a great game. I don't know if Titanfall 2 had any online stuff. I don't remember anybody. I mean, it may well have had a multiplayer section to it. Not sure if that forced you to sign in or anything. That got great reviews as well. So, which is why I was so positive about this going in, because I felt like, because it was Respawn and they were very, very, they got such praise for the single player campaign of Titanfall 2 that I was kind of confident that they knew what they wanted to do with this game. And so, from the whole experience of entering the menu and going straight into the game, you have this massive opening section which is very linear, but it's really just a massive tutorial. But it is epic. It looks fantastic. It plays beautifully. A word of warning, though, I was watching the Digital Foundry comparison between the Xbox One X and the standard Xbox, and they weren't great. The Xbox One X is fantastic, but the S has so many issues. It runs in 720p. It has loads of places where it just freezes for like 7 seconds on screen, and then it just starts again because it's waiting to load stuff up. So it really doesn't cope with the game well. But if you stick with, I think, I don't know about PS4 because they didn't get a pre-launch copy of PS4, so they couldn't talk about it yet. But I'm sure the PS4 will cope with it better, and certainly the Pro will deal with it fine. And so on the Xbox One X, it is a glorious, glorious experience. And the 4 hours that I have played, and I've posted up to you guys, I've had an absolutely fantastic time with it. And it really does feel like I am in a Dark Souls-y, Sekiro type fighting system world even, but with a lightsaber. And it kind of like, the environments aren't just like big flat environments with a lot of places to run around and check the corners in. They are like the Dark Souls experience where you've got a multi-layered environment. So you've got and a lot of areas are locked. So you've got to find your way around to certain areas, find a way to unlock that bit to get a shortcut back to that bit. They've taken all of that sort of stuff and they've built it into their areas. And the two proper areas that I've seen are really diverse, very, very different, very diverse. One's like a red planet, the other one's sort of green, boggy, muddy planet. And that, to be fair, the planet that's the sort of red planet was a complete accident. I stumbled across it when I was looking around another area, and it doesn't even seem like you have to go to that planet. It seems like a totally side mission planet where it's just got this whole section of story that you could actually miss. And it's actually the place where you get the double lightsaber. So you start off with a standard lightsaber, but you can convert it to be able to do both. And you use the D-pad to bounce between single and double, which is awesome. And there's benefits to either. The upgrades are nice and simple. A lot of the upgrades are just visual, so like your clothing stuff doesn't have armor and stuff on it. So from that perspective, what you're upgrading is moves, not your, it's not, so that you're not upgrading anything to do with your armor or weapon other than visual differences. And, to put it into a style that you like or a colour of lightsaber that you like, there's different pieces you can change on the handles and all sorts of stuff. But you collect those from chests and stuff as you go around, and they're all visual. So from that perspective, it is like Sekiro more than it's like Dark Souls and stuff, because Sekiro was like that. You weren't ever levelling up, other than things like your health or the amount of health you could carry, that sort of things. And that's a good thing in my opinion, because, there's no need to be grinding away other than to get experience. The interesting thing is that the other thing that's very Soulsy is that the meditation points that are plastered around the place, and they're more frequent than bonfires in Dark Souls, but they are literally bonfires. The meditation points, you can do your upgrading, you can rest or not rest. If you rest, all the enemies come back. And if you don't rest, you can just use you use the skill tree to upgrade if you've got skill points. Also, you don't have to rest at them to get a checkpoint. The checkpoints happen as you're going along anyway. And I haven't manually saved. There is no manual save so far as I can tell. A really nice thing is, you only die if you die fighting an enemy, so far as I can tell at this point. So if you fall off a ledge and would effectively die, if you fell off a ledge and died, you don't technically die, it just pushes you back to where you were before you fell. And it's brilliant and it's instantaneous. So the environmental stuff isn't quite so worrying, and I haven't noticed me losing health when I fall a great height either. And I've kind of enjoyed that. It doesn't punish you for falling off a ledge and stuff. I'm assuming it's the same in every difficulty level. I'm on the second highest, I think. And when you go into the game, you can pick the response times you have to do things in the fights. Obviously, the basic one is at max, so you've got loads of time to react and do stuff. And then as you go up, you've got less and less time to react. And there's a few other things that change. And there's like a Master Knight Jedi type thing. So I'm playing on the sort of what would be called normal, I guess. So what else was that? Oh, the XP is also a little bit like Dark Souls. There's a little difference to it. So if you die proper, if you get killed by an enemy, you lose the XP you've got in your bar, which can be a little bit painful. However, if you go back and kill the enemy that killed you, you get them back. So it's not like they're just lying on the floor. My experience is I had to kill. I've only died twice, but I've had to kill the thing or the enemy that killed me, and then it just gives you them. Just says, "Wait, you've got your XP back," and on you go. I think it also tops your health off and stuff as well, from what I've noticed. The downside to it is because the levels are so intricate. When I did die and go back to the meditation point, because it doesn't just put you back to before you walked in this case, it puts you back at the meditation point. The first time I died, I was like, I can't remember how to get back there. It's like, you know what I mean? It was like, because they're so layered and so, maze-like, I thought I can't be bothered walking back to it for what it was. So I still haven't done it again yet, and I've leveled up a bit now, so I might be able to take the guy down. It was very early on. I just walked into a cave, there's a massive lizard thing with a massive red health bar. I was like, Jesus Christ, I couldn't get a bloody shot in. But yeah, it's been a fantastic experience, and I can't recommend that game enough. Now, at the moment, I'm not going to go on and on and on about it so far as I've talked about Fallen Order already in a lot of vlogs. But I wanted to give my opinion of the game, and all those people that were like, there's got to be something wrong with it, are completely wrong. This game is awesome. It's really, really, really good. And so far, I've been monitoring it through the day since the reviews were allowed to go up. The Metacritic reviews have been really good. I haven't had a sip of this yet, and I normally do before I get going. Parched, people. I'm parched. I'd buy you one. If you were here right now, you would be having one of these. Go and get you one. Go on. Pause me. Go and get yourself a drink. Oh, yeah. Flagons up, people. So I was going to jot the things down, but I've kept Metacritic open on my telephone machine. On Tinterwebs. And at the moment, let's refresh the page, on Xbox One, the Metacritic score is, it's still holding as well. So the score from the reviewers is held at a steady 85 out of 100. And that is a sweet score for Metacritic. That's really, really good. 85 out of 100. The user score of the people like you and me who put their scores up, there's been 122 ratings so far, and it's sitting at 9. And if I bounce to the PS4, now admittedly PS4 has, there's a lot more PS4s out there than Xboxes, mind. So this is based on 271 user. Well, hang on. It's gone up again actually on the review scores. It's back up to 84 now. So the review scores are actually balancing out across both platforms, 85 and 84s, And the user score is 8.3 based on, oh God, Jesus, I should have put my glasses on. It's 371 actually. So it's almost, it's like triple the amount of reviews on the other page. So that will, by nature, bring it down a little bit. And, that's fantastic scores for this game. It really, really is. Is it perfect? No, of course it's not. And Digital Foundry talked about it in their video they've just put up, about the fact that there's, a little bit of popping here and there, and he said that there was some bugs, but honestly, I've not seen, in the 4 hours I've played, I've not seen any bugs or anything yet. And he did say they were predominantly on the lesser Xbox. The Xbox One X is kind of happy all over the shop. It does give you settings as well, which I didn't notice, and I'll have a little look next time I'm in. It gives you a setting where you can turn off the locked frame rate at 30 frames per second, which I think is the standard. However, they did say that the other option to unlock it is all over the place, so it's not a nice experience at all, and it kind of goes anywhere between 60 and bloody 25. It just goes all over the place. So the locked experience at 1080p is the best experience. Was that right? I'm trying to remember now. It was the quality setting. If you play it at quality level rather than performance level, the performance one is where it unlocks the frame rate, so you can get, every now and then you'll get 60 or 30 or blah, but it's all over the shop, so it's not very smooth apparently. But it's interesting that they're letting you do it, and I like the fact that they do that. I wish it was in more games where you could say, you know what, I just would rather lose the 4K and just play it in 1080p with smoother frame rates and smoother, I wish it was in more games. So I'll have a little look next time I'm in. There's a sort of motion blur one, and there's a film grain one. There was a few others in there. I was just looking at. I haven't looked at it in the menu yet. I was looking at it in what Digital Foundry was showing before I did this video. So there you are. So it's done really, really well up to this point, and after a day like that, it's gonna hold it there. It's not gonna go vastly far from where it is now. That's the big scores up now. So I'm really chuffed for it, because I think it's a massive message to EA to say, stop, just please stop with all this online stuff that nobody wants. And even when you do it, you're not doing it right anyway. So just give us something that we want to buy. I understand that they want to have some sort of longevity in a game. If you want longevity in a game, do some proper downloadable story DLC that we're going to want to play. That's how you get a money offers again. You don't do loot boxes, and you don't do online purchasing and, buy a lightsaber, and nobody wants that shit, people. This is a massive message to them to say, if you do it right, this is what you get. You get great reviews, and you get people buying the game. Well, I don't know what the sales figures are for it, and I'm hoping that their embargo hasn't sort of bitten them in the ass. But here we go. Let's talk about embargoes. I'm kind of caught between two worlds here, because an embargo is there to protect the developer so that people aren't put off pre-ordering the game by reviewers giving it shit scores. That's basically its only purpose. I'm going to have another drink. I'm really thirsty tonight, people. Grief. And I understand it, but what happens is the world suddenly loses its shit like it did, the last number of days or the last week, because it's like, well, the game must be awful if you've put an embargo literally on the day of launch, because you're afraid of what people are going to say about it. You must think it's not up to scratch. And you may well be right, and it may well have been the case in the past. Well, it has been the case in the past. But in this particular, I kind of get why the developers don't want to do it early. I think there used to be a time where they could trust in their own product and trust that reviewers would give it a fair review. My opinion is kind of the phase at the minute that I do feel like reviewers at times give really shit reviews to get attention, or they give really shit reviews to a game that they didn't understand, or that they didn't connect with. So there's, that the 6.8 for Death Stranding from IGN is a perfect example, because Aaron's playing that. Aaron Brew's playing that at the minute. He didn't get this at launch. He got Death Stranding at launch, and he's loving it. He absolutely loves it. And he just cannot understand how a 6.8 was dished out by IGN. But I saw an article by IGN who said that, it was a complete diversity in their office so far as everybody had a different opinion. That, to me, says that everybody had a different opinion to the person that reviewed it. And I honestly believe, and I talked about it last week, that a company like that should have a combined score, not a score from one person, because that is what the games companies are afraid of. They're afraid of somebody not getting it. They're afraid of somebody, you can make the best game in the world and somebody will give it a 6 and you'll be like, well, why? Well, I just didn't like it. I didn't find I connected with that. Didn't find it. And it's like, yeah, but all these people did. So, as the bigger companies and the proper reviewers, I think should not be given one person's score. And you could say the same about films as well, because that's what it is. It is one person's score. It's not a company's score. It's a one person's score. And I feel like that is not a true depiction of what should be out there as a score for the game to make people have a proper judgment about it. Maybe it's the case that they give it to 2 or 3. Well, 3 would be best. So you've got not a 50-50. You've got like a score that would be beyond the one person that thought it was shit sort of thing. Or vice versa. If 2 people thought it was shit. So I think it's something they need to think about, because I think that's why the embargoes are being left so late. A lot of the time, I don't think it's to do with the fact that they're worried about their game. They're worried about who's going to review it. And frankly, it's just ridiculous, some of the review scores that have come out in the past. And that's why, as I said to you all, I used to have my own website where people could go on and review games and stuff and give them their own scores, write their own articles. And that's what drove me to do it back in the day. Because you're just relying on one person at a company giving you a decent score. And it only takes one person to give you a 5 out of 10 and 3 people to give you a 10 out of 10 to make the score look shit anyway. So it's like... one ridiculous score makes everything else sort of inconsequential half the time. But, I kind of get it. I understand why people are frustrated when the embargoes are that late. By the same token, just don't buy it until you see the reviews or you've seen some gameplay. But I'd seen enough gameplay to know that this game was going to be right up my street. I didn't need to see a review. I knew I was going to get fun out of this game. It didn't need to be 10 out of 10. It just needed to be a great game, which is what it is. So... I'm absolutely delighted that it's done well. I'm absolutely delighted that it's reviewed so well. I hope the sales figures are good. And if you have not bought this game or pre-ordered it, I can only, if you love Star Wars, you'll love it. If you're not bothered about Star Wars and you just like great swordplay type games but with a lightsaber, it'll be right up your alley. If you're a Dark Soulsy Sekiro type person, it'll be right up your alley. If you like investigating areas, if you like puzzles, if you like figuring stuff out, it'll be right up your area. If you love a good story, right up your area. It's like... another t-shirt there, people. Right up your area. Right up your street, people. I cannot recommend it enough in the 4 hours that I've played. And I'm delighted that it's done really well. Wow, that's half an hour of Star Wars just about. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to putting more of it up. I hope you guys watch. If you're kind of seeing the thumbnail and thinking, nah, it's not for me, honestly, give it a try. Especially parts 3 and 4, where we go from finishing off one area and going into the red planet, where things really get quite dark and more interesting. And, well, not more interesting is a bit harsh. The first area is interesting. It's just, I felt like I got into the groove of it more in part 4, and the area and the enemies were just went really dark. It was almost like being in a sort of Bloodborne-y type section. But really cool. But you always feel like you're in a Star Wars-y type universe. But even if you don't like... I know LLC, Cool CC, Cool Plays, was saying he's never watched a Star Wars film in his life. That's fine. You do not need to like Star Wars to love this game at all. I mean, I feel like I'm in the Star Wars universe. Yeah, absolutely. But it feels darker than that. And it plays just like the Soulsy, Sekiro crossover type thing. If anything, it's probably more of a crossover of Bloodborne and Sekiro, because you don't have the shield or anything. You can block with the saber, but it's kind of more about moving and dodging and stuff. So yeah, delighted for it. If you've not got it yet, absolutely. If you were borderline, absolutely go and get it. It is terrific, people. There's a word that's not used enough these days. Is that an old word? Terrific. I've not heard anyone say terrific since Del Boy. Terrific, innit? Terrific. Right, what else did we have? Moving swiftly on. Embargoes. Well, to finalise on the embargo stuff, I mean, for me, if I was a game dev and if I was confident in my game, I would probably have an embargo that was the day before launch. But I get it. I understand why. And I don't know, though. It'd be interesting to find out somehow if you've done yourself a justice or an injustice, depending on when you've done it. Have people specifically not ordered that game because the embargo was on the day of launch? Because most people order online now. They don't go to a shop. So, it'd be interesting to know what impact that late embargo had. Because if you give a great review 2 days early, you're going to have massive pre-orders. If you leave the embargo to the day of launch, I don't know what hindrance that has. So I'm hoping it's not affected it badly, because they should have been confident enough to just say, push it out, let them have it, put it up 2 days before, see what we've got. Because in this case, it would have paid off in a massive way. So I'm hoping it's not been a detriment to them. Anywho, I tell you, there is a shout, actually, that it could well be up in the Game of the Year shouts. And it was the people that had been sort of previewing it were saying that as well. I would not be surprised if it's up there in the voting. What else have we got here, people? Right, okay, so yeah, the few things I've picked up on from XO19. We have, Wasteland 3 was announced yesterday, which was one of their big announcements. I don't think that's a studio that Microsoft have bought over. I'm pretty sure Wasteland 3, I could be wrong though, it might well be one of them. They've bought a whole bunch of studios up. But anyway, I thought Wasteland 3 was going to be on all platforms, but I can't confirm nor deny that at the moment, people. That was very politician of me, wasn't it? I can neither confirm nor deny. But Wasteland 2 was one that I played on the channel way back. There is a number of I mean, this was years back, but it's still there. The Let's Play playlist is still there. So if you want to go and check out what 2 was like, and I'm sure 3 is more enhanced than that. But Wasteland was where Fallout started, basically. I can't remember if it was the original Wasteland that kind of found its way to becoming a Fallout, or whether it was the company that made Wasteland that made the original Fallout, or so I can't remember. But that's where Fallout began, was in this world with this company and these people. And it's that sort of world you're in. It's in a world, sort of desolate world, but it's all done, 2 was done with turn-based combat, and you're walking around as a party and a group, and it's a really, really cool game, really slick, really nice. But you could tell it was a smaller developer that had done it. So I'm wondering how far it's come since then. There was a lot of people had a lot of love for Wasteland 2 on the channel. I never did finish it though. There's a shocker, eh? So that was announced. I haven't seen the trailer yet, and you know what? I think they might have actually released a trailer, and I might have shown it behind me while I was talking to you. Hey, that's the sort of guy I am. If my downloader for the bloody videos isn't broke like it was last week. We'll see how we go, people. What else do we have? Game Pass. 50 new games were added as well. That was a big announcement from yesterday. So this is the final thing we have to talk about, and this is becoming more and more epic. The Game Pass. I mean, they are determined to get people onto the Xbox, back to Microsoft, and they're going to do it. You're paying like whatever. I mean, I'm paying nothing for the next until February because I got a really good deal. But even if you were paying monthly, it's $8.99 a month for as many games as you can possibly play, and there's bloody hundreds on there. So if you're someone that's always unsure about games or isn't bothered about having them at launch, bear in mind that any first-party title, any game that they make, Halo, Gears of War, all their own stuff, is always available at launch on the Game Pass. The other stuff from the third-party developers will take a little time to get there, but it will kind of end up there in the end, depending on what deal that Microsoft do at the time. But there's always a vast array of games on there. And it is a terrific service. I mean, if you're someone that wants to dabble in different types of games, see what they're all like, I mean, there is so many different types of games you can tap into on there. You pay your $8.99, you download the game, you get on with it. And you don't have to worry about paying 50 quid a launch title. It's a terrific, terrific, terrific service. It really, really is. And I don't know how the PlayStation one compares, but if indeed there is one that compares. But it is a fantastic, fantastic service. And they've put an extra 50 games on it yesterday, which are all of the Final Fantasies and all of the Yakuza titles. Well, that's, the highlights of it. I haven't looked through to see everything that's there. But all of the Final Fantasy library and all of the Yakuza library is absolutely awesome, isn't it? I mean, bloody hellfire. All for your $8.99 a month, and play as many as you like. I mean, those, bloody hell, it'll take you a bloody year to get through all of those games. On their own. So, and they must all be, they're all back compat, aren't they? So, yeah, absolutely, absolutely great. I mean, I love that service. I mean, I honest to God, at the moment, the way that things are, if PlayStation don't sort out how noisy their consoles are for the PlayStation 5, I will be making, I'm already, my PlayStation Pro is redundant at the moment, unless I'm playing a PlayStation title that's first party, and that's the complete opposite of how it used to be. Till the Xbox One X came out, it's the best experience. The controller is far more robust. The console is nice and quiet. It's just a lovely machine to play on. It's the most powerful one. The experience is just the purest there. And okay, look, the menu on the Xbox stuff is still really messy. Like, they need to get rid of the gunk and just give us what we want to be able to have a console dashboard. You don't have to throw stupid adverts or pointers in our faces. Just give us the space to do what we want to do with our file systems. And, I think that's the best thing they can do with the new Xbox, is sort the dashboard out so that it's not about throwing stuff in your face. We know where the store is. You only have to have a small section to highlight things that you might want people to buy. You don't have to fill up our entire front screen with adverts. But that all said, I mean, you can customize it a lot, but it's still really, you could simplify the hell out of it. You really, really could. But it's a lot better than it used to be. But that's the only thing I would change about it. The environment's great to be in, and everything just works fine. I've actually loved being back on the Microsoft Xbox world. I mean, 360 was a great experience for me. I loved my 360. I was on there so much. PS3 came along, and I got caught up in the world of all these other games, and then I kind of moved into the world of PlayStation, and Xbox One was a disaster at the beginning, and then, my world went into PS4. But at the moment, I just find that the best experience is on the Xbox One X. Unless it's a first-party title, obviously I'll go back. But it's just such a bloody noise with a fan. You know what I mean? It's just this, it's like a bloody hovercraft or something. And that's me on the Pro. So, but, I mean, Aaron Brew, he's just bought himself a PS4 Slim. And he said it's quite quiet. But his old PlayStation was so noisy, you wanted to hear it. It was like a jet engine taking off. There was something which wasn't right at all. It was one of the originals. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just a lot of fan overkill. And it's because there's so much heat building up. The Xbox One X has got liquid cooling in it, so it doesn't need to push the fans so hard. And that's how they're getting around it. But it's a fantastic unit. It really, really is. And at the moment, if things stay the way they are, then I'll probably make the Xbox 2 my primary console. If I've got to pick a controller, I'm still going to pick the Xbox One controller over the PlayStation controller, because it's just, I mean, Aaron's been through a number of PlayStation controllers now. They just fall to bits. The amount of gaming he does, they're just not staying together. And my Xbox controllers are just so robust. They're fantastic. The only thing I would change, and I've mentioned it before, is I just would like the sticks on the Xbox controller to be a little bit shorter. They're very high. It's not so bad on first-person shooter type stuff, or first-person games, but you feel it really in third-person games, like we're playing now with the Jedi Fallen Order and what have you. You get really sensitive, so you're always sort of on a nice edge of anything. It's the only thing I'd change, though. Brilliant controllers. Anyway, there you are, people. That's me spraffled on long enough. I did another 10k today, but another 3 10ks this week and 1 swim. Didn't manage to get my second swim in, but another week of massive exercise. I'm wasting away, people. Look at me. So yeah, I'm really, really glad my running's got kicked off again. Back into my nice long runs. I really smashed it's somewhere between 9.6 and 10. I get different readings from the Fitbit. It's exactly the same loops that I do. It's exactly the same route I do around the park each time. But yeah, smashed my time today. My best time was like 59.5 minutes, and I think I did it in 58.5 or something like that today. So I had a really good run today. It was really good. I can't do that every time. Sometimes you just go out and run and you just have something's just different, and you find a moment where you're just cruising along. And it happened weirdly on my third lap, which is the last lap of the park. And I just had this sort of second burst of energy, and I just got into this massive stride. I'm sure it must have been my fastest lap. And I was just cruising. And then the more I was cruising, I thought, hang on, I might actually beat my best time here. And sure enough, I did. Yeah, really, really, really chuffed for that. 58.5 minutes or whatever it was. Fantastico! Anyway, I'm going to go and put my Scotland top on now in preparation for tomorrow's game. Not that I'm not going to go to bed or anything, but it'll make me get me in the spirit for tomorrow. Even though we can't actually qualify from the group anymore, we can still qualify from this international table thing, can't we? If we get enough points, I think, or best third or whatever it might be. We've got Cyprus, I think, and then we've got somebody else. Come on, yes, Scotland, ye, come on. I think England qualified about 300 years ago. But yeah. I don't know, eh? We've got some good players, though, people. We've got some good players at the minute. Like, we should be doing better than we are. Change of management and all the rest of it. He's a good manager, to be fair, but I think it's taken a bit of time to get settled in with the Scotland squad and stuff. So I hope they give him a bit of time with it. Anyway, I digress, people. That is all I have to talk about gaming today. I hope your week has been as awesome as mine. It has been an honour and a privilege serving for you today in this vlog of mine, and I shall see you all next time, folks. Take it easy. Bye.